我们现在就来欢迎Katia 来跟我们做她的分享。
你好。Hi, my name is Katia. I'm now an assistant professor at UC Davis. I'm from Peru, as I think that Monica was mentioning. Before becoming a maker, I was living in Peru and I had a small company that we were selling license from IBM. I was in the dark side. And then I just figured out like why I'm doing this, why I am taking someone else's program or project and selling that to someone else. What if I could be creating some software or anything? So then I decided to become a researcher. And I moved to Brazil. I moved to Rio de Janeiro, so it was also a very amazing spot to be. And I started working with virtual reality. And I really like the idea of what's impossible in real life. So I figured out that I could fly, or I could teleport to Mars, or I could create these different environments with raining letters, or anything that I could imagine. I could be creating that in this virtual reality world. But then I was figuring out during my PhD how I could make things that could be, for some people, impossible, possible in real life. So I started working with wearables. I started learning about electronics. I started learning about fashion. I started figuring out how we can put technology on our body. And in 2012, I moved to Hong Kong, and it was also an amazing experience for me because I'm from computer science, and I moved to the arts department in HKBU. And I started working with Trisha Flanagan and working with art and technology, and to figuring out how we can have these kind of wearables. As I was a researcher, I was thinking like, okay, but what could be my contribution? What I will be creating? What's this creativity that I was looking for? And I was thinking about how we can use these different wearables on our body surface. So imagine that if we think about cosmetics today, it didn't change very much over the time. Like I have a red lipstick, my mom have a red lipstick, my grandma has a red lipstick. So the cosmetics have the same functionality. We use this makeup for highlight or hide some part of our body. But what if we could make them interactive? So I created this idea called beauty technology. So beauty technology are these electronics and cosmetics that makes your skin, your hair, your fingernail as an interface. So imagine that you have like this makeup and you blink and you could turn the lights, or with your fingernail you could pay the metro, or by touching your hair you could record a conversation or send a message. So how our body could become this interactive platform. And I will show you some examples of what I was doing. I did the wrong one. This way. So the hair for me was always something very interesting. So the hair is something that is public because everyone could see my hair, but also is something that is personal. So no one is messing my hair, it's my hair. But also you can make different hairstyles. And hair also is something that we use unconsciously. So it kind of becomes a communication tool. So we touch our hair when we are very nervous, or we touch our hair, we're thinking thinking about something, we touch our hair in a way to kind of maybe you show your body to some of your environment, like as a way to mimic a small kid. So unconsciously, we touch our hair. What if we consciously touch our hair for activating different devices? So we create this project called Hairwear, and hairwear are hair extensions that we use a chemical process for metallizing them. So we metallize the hair extensions, we connect that to a circuit, and each time you touch it, you could send a message, for example. So I will show you a video. Yeah, sometimes I feel like James Bond. So our body surface are also our fingernails. So imagine that we could put like these different RFIDs in each of our fingernails, like the same technology we use for paying the metro. We can put that on our fingernails, and we could have like 10 of these RFIDs. So each of them have a different ID. So for example, in this case, you could have a piano in the air, or maybe with one fingernail, you could pay the metro. With the other one, you could pay Starbucks. With the other one, you could open the door of your office or your lab. So you could have technology and the power in your fingertip. And I really like RFIDs because it's kind of like a technology is kind of in the air, so you kind of recognize each of your fingernail. You don't even need to touch it. So what I really like also about that is that we could put different materials around that. So I was figuring out, like, what if I could put water and create this water interface? So I create this other project that is called Aqua DJing. So I see the DJ controller into the water. When the DJ put her fingernails into the water, she could activate different tracks or sound effects like this. Yeah, so we were talking about hair, about your fingernails. So what about our skin and how we can have different devices on our skin? So my first project with all this beauty technology work was this conductive makeup. So we create these eyelashes so you could blink and turn the lights, or I had this superhero costume and I was making a drone to fly because I had the superpower of levitating things. And it was super cool to have that superpower and without anyone noticing why is it happening, because I just have eyelashes. And then I thought, oh, okay, so how we can also keep using these different special effect makeup or makeup to hide other kind of technology. So we create kind of a second skin that it could recognize your blinking, your smiling. When you raise your eyebrow, it kind of becomes kind of a wrinkled platform that it could detect each of your movements on your face. And I will show you a video that it was inspired in something else. This video was inspired in Felipe. Felipe was 6 times championship in Jiu-Jitsu. 2 times world championship, and unfortunately, he had an accident, and now he cannot move his body. So we create this kind of second skin for him, and so in that way, he could turn on the TV and change the channels with his blinking. And so this video is a video that we were presenting to show that possibility, and to show like that possibility of with your blinking, you could activate the things, and it's actually looking like your skin. So for me, it's very interesting to how we could figure it out different devices that could be on our skin, on our hair, on our fingernails. And we were working in this for the last, from 2012, and also how we can have skin interfaces. So because we were talking about wearables, so technology that could be in clothing or accessories. But we could also have technology that could be in your skin, so it's closer to your body, and you could have access to not just to your body, and also to your environment, placing that technologies in your skin. And there are many things that are challenging when you create these devices, because it's not just about the body, but it's also about the skin. For example, you need to figure it out, like we have different skins. Some of them have more oily skin, for example. So it's a combination of thinking about the body, the skin, and how we wanted to make it look with technology. So there are many different ways to see this. However, I will show you my last project. And my last project, it was with biotechnology. So I was at MIT Media Lab. I was doing a postdoc there, and we were figuring out different ways to have technology deeper. So not just in the surface, how we can put that inside of your skin. And we were thinking first to use electronics, but actually then we figured out that using biotechnology, that is something that you don't need batteries, you don't need connections, and you could engineer how these molecules will be reacting. It could be also a great idea to incorporate that on your body. So this project is called the dermal abyss. So the dermal abyss are tattoos that they change color depending on the changes in your biodata. So imagine that you have, for example, diabetes. Your glucose levels go up and down. So you could see in your tattoo that the color is changing, and you will need more insulin, for example. So the way we do that is with biosensors. We were using a tattoo gun, and we were placing this ink inside of your skin. And we were doing that just in an ex vivo model, so that means that it's with pig skin. We cannot do that in humans yet. It's a long research for doing that. But we got a lot of attention, and we show that in different ways, like in conference, but also in exhibitions. And mainly we got a lot of people that were interested in that were people that have diabetes, but also people that had other diseases, that they would like to incorporate that inside of your body. People that had like quantified themselves, so they They have to do a lot of blue tests all the time, so if they could have that, they don't need to do that. Or astronauts, for example, so they are in the space, they cannot measure what's inside of their body, or even animals that they cannot communicate. So for us, it's a way that we explore a new possibility of how you could have technology inside of your body and how you could read information that is inside of your body that you usually don't have access to. You usually don't have access to your glucose, to your sodium, or to your pH until you make a blue test. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why I'm doing this, why I'm creating all these different interfaces with electronics, with biotechnology. For me, it's a way, I'm a researcher. I like to create new technologies and show that to the community to bring this possibility, like this new idea of how that could be this impossible for some people actually possible. And I really like to see some examples that are already in the market. And these are not my products. I don't have products, but there are some startups that they are creating this idea, for example, of the RFIDs that you could pay the metro or using that with like an AFC with your phone. So what I wanted to share with you is like how we could have researchers and academia immersed also in this maker world, and how we could have like using these ideas to make it happen, and maybe combining these ideas to have that in our labs, or taking that from the labs to actually to manufacturing. And so yeah, there are many conferences that you could take a look, and some of these ideas, so that's why it's very interesting, because there are a lot of these ideas that are already in these main conferences of human-computer interaction, for example, that you could actually take that idea and make it happen here in Shenzhen. Like in my point of view, what I do is I create all these papers, I create demos to show that this is possible. We brought this book, Beauty Technology, Design and Seamless Interfaces for Wearable Computing, to show that possibility. We share not just the idea, we share even the circuit, we share even, for example, for the hair or the conductive eyelashes, what's the chemical process for creating that. So that all information is in the papers and also in the book. And why is that possible, and why is this a motivation for me? Is because I really like this idea of how we can augment human capabilities with technology, and how we could think about this symbiosis between the human and device, and what technology could give us this possibility of creating this new idea. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Katia. Are you going to be around later if people have questions?
Yes, I will be around. Also, you can email me. It's katiavega@ucdavis.edu anytime, or just look to my website, katiavega.com. I will be around if anyone has questions.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. I love the videos.